Today's video is on 5 rides that will make you sick.
Number 5. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Hollywood. Harry Potter is one of the most successful literary and cinematic franchises ever, so it's no surprise that it has gone on to spawn on its own theme parks and rides. In 2016, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter ride opened in Universal Studios Hollywood, which was a copy of another ride at Universal in Orlando. But this new one had made changes that made a large number of people very sick. It takes people on a 3D ride through Hogwarts and other Potter locations, where riders sit on a broom that's mounted on a robotic arm. It was thought at the time that the nauseous effects were being caused by the 3D elements to it. And luckily for Universal, the problem was discovered during the testing phase before it had been opened to the public. Of course, this was no consolation to the test subjects, Universal employees who were left feeling incredibly ill, but it seems like things have now been made less vomit-inducing. Number 4. Banshee, Ohio. The Banshee is a roller coaster in Ohio's Kings Island theme park and takes riders on a stomach-churning route that tests even the hardest of people. The 4,124-foot-long track passes through 7 inversions, which include a 167-foot lift hill, a 150-foot curved drop, a dive loop, a vertical loop, a zero-gravity roll, 2 batwing inversions, an outside loop, a spiral, an inline roll, and a carousel. All of this while traveling at speeds of up to 68 miles per hour. Furthermore, it's built on an incline, which means the distance between the highest and lowest points is 208 feet. So there's no surprise that it was named after the mythical Banshee and is the cause of regularly sickly reactions from riders. It was the first inverted coaster to be built in the US and celebrated its millionth rider within 3 months of opening. If you're visiting Ohio, it's well worth giving Banshee a go, but you will probably want to wait for lunch until after you're done. Number 3. The Incredible Hulk, Orlando. The Incredible Hulk ride at Universal's Orlando Resort is one of the most intense rides you'll ever go on and is notorious for its ability to trigger people's motion sickness. From the moment you enter the queue, the sense of insanity is built by the statue of the Hulk holding a car over his head and rails passing behind. Video screens showed test subjects being exposed to radiation and turned into Hulk-like creatures, and you even have to pass through security scanners and ensure all loose items are removed. It's a launch coaster and propels its cars to speeds of 67 miles per hour along a 3,800-foot-long track through 7 inversions and a maximum drop of 115 feet. Riders experience loads of 4G as they are launched to 40 miles per hour in just 2 seconds, and career through the twists and turns in a ride that lasts for just over 1.5 minutes. There are 2 subterranean dives, and at night, the ride is illuminated with green lights. All of this combines to create a nauseous feeling, especially for those who are prone to motion sickness. And all seems quite fitting for a ride named after the Incredible Hulk. Number 2. X2, California. X2 originally opened at the Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California in 2002 as X, but was refitted and reopened in 2008 as X2. It was the world's first 4th dimension roller coaster, which means riders in their cars rotate independently on the direction of the track. The ride is 3,610 feet long, reaches a top speed of 76 miles per hour, has a maximum drop of 215 feet, and has 2 inversions. From the start, trains turn 180 degrees onto the lift hill and rise up 175 feet. Each of the train's cars move on their own 360-degree axis, forward or backward, and during the main drop, this movement is fixed, so riders face towards the ground. Across the other twists and turns of the ride, the cars position riders on their backs in what's called a lie-to-fly maneuver, and then into a flying prone position, and are even used to simulate backflips. The addition of flamethrowers adds extra heat and spectacle of the ride before the train returns to the station. It's the unique way that this ride spins the cars that leads to people experiencing motion sickness, and there are regular instances of people having to be helped off the ride once it's finished to recover. As with other nausea-inducing rides, the recommendation for those who often have issues with motion sickness is to simply avoid getting on the ride, because for those who are prone to it, it's virtually guaranteed to make them sick. As a world first, though, it's a ride that's difficult to miss out on if you're at the Six Flags Magic Mountain. So people often ignore the advice and ride anyway. If you love roller coasters, then X2 definitely has to be on your bucket list. You might also need to have a bucket on standby once you're done. Number 1. Mission Space, Orange Team, Epcot. Mission Space opened at Epcot in 2003 and is a centrifugal motion simulator ride that simulates a NASA mission to Mars. The ride is thought to have cost around $100 million to develop and gives teams of 4 the chance to take on different roles in the flight, which include takeoff, a slingshot around the moon, simulated hypersleep, and a manually controlled descent onto Mars, with a few surprises along the way. Acceleration is simulated by spinning and tilting the capsules during the 4-minute flight. Fans are blown on riders to help with the illusion, and high-resolution images are shown on screens outside the windows. Ever since the first riders set foot on Mission Space, it has been controversial. The centrifugal spinning is particularly nausea-inducing to people who are prone to it, and there are a number of warnings in the queue that people who suffer from motion sickness should not ride, and that the ride can cause nausea, dizziness, headaches, and disorientation. Those with a history of migraines and vertigo are also warned to avoid Mission Space, and there are explicit instructions to keep your head firmly against the headrest to prevent more intense symptoms. Riders experience forces up to 2.5 G, and within months of opening, vomit bags were placed within easy reach if things get a little overwhelming. A number of people have been taken to the hospital after the ride, with chest pains and extreme nausea. There have also been 2 deaths associated with the ride, one of a young boy with an undiagnosed heart condition, and another of a 50-year-old woman who had a stroke. So common are motion sickness issues caused by this ride that an alternative mission was introduced in 2006, known as Green Team. It simulates a flight around the Earth and doesn't use any of the centrifugal elements. The original Mars mission is still available for thrill seekers, but has been rebranded as the Orange Team mission. Honorable mentions: Mad Tea Party, Magic Kingdom. There's nothing like spinning around in the same direction to make you feel dizzy and nauseous, especially if you suffer from motion sickness, and even rides that are designed for children can be particularly unpleasant. The most famous of these is undoubtedly the Mad Tea Party in Disney's Magic Kingdom. And despite there being a wheel in each teacup to help riders control the level of spin, things always have the potential to get out of hand, especially if you're riding with someone who insists on spinning it as fast as possible. It was originally opened in 1955, and for the first 2 years, there were no limits on how fast the cups could be spun, something that was rectified because of the number of people feeling sick afterward. Even with the limitations that were added, it's become notorious for its ability to make people ill, and is something that can be experienced with versions at 5 of the 6 Disney theme parks around the world. X No Way Out. X No Way Out was a roller coaster that opened at Thorpe Park in England in 1996. Styled as the world's first backward roller coaster in the dark, the entire experience was designed to disorientate the riders and, as a result, caused motion sickness for many. The first problem was that the entire ride was backward, and this was combined with pitch darkness. Later on in its life, lasers, lights, and techno music were added, which made it an even more vomit-inducing ride. Now, the whole reverse element has been removed. It's a forward-facing roller coaster themed after The Walking Dead, and the only sickly parts of the ride come from the gory zombies throughout the queue line.
I hope you all enjoyed today's video, narrated by Zach this time. Be sure to subscribe for more and check out some of our recent uploads.